on Terumot Perek Hey Mishnah Chet. Terumot Perek Hey Mishnah Chet. Says the Mishnah. It seems like a short Mishnah, but as we're going to see, there's an interesting Tosefta that complicates matters a little bit. Says the Mishnah. Seah of Terumah. So let's say you have a Seah of Terumah that falls into 100, and we know that 1 into 100 is batel. Okay, mea chullin, of course, as we've learned. Below, he speak lahakbia ad shenafla acheret. And you didn't have a chance, so one Seah fell in, and then before you had a chance to take one out, remember you have to take one Seah out, another Seah of Terumah fell in. Says the Mishnah, Harezo Asura, Rabbi Shimon Matir. So the Tanakama, the Chachamim say that it's considered 2 into Mea, and it's not Batel. Rabbi Shimon says it is Batel. I mentioned this before, but anytime you see a machlokot like this, you have to ask yourself, which opinion is obvious and which is interesting? Which one did you say is more seem to be the sensible opinion, and which would you say is not the more sensible opinion, is more difficult? Is it the Chachamim, who say that you could look at it as if 2? It seems most logical that if you didn't the question is, what does it mean that something is batel, and that you have to take out 1? So if you believe that when you take out 1, it's only a symbolic act, then who cares if another one fell in? It was already batel. And since it's batel, so then another one fell in. So if that would be true, then Rabbi Shimon would be the most obvious opinion, and the Tanakama would be difficult. It's well worth thinking about. But even more than that, I want to share with you the Tosefta. Okay, this the Kahati shares the Tosefta. So first, the Tosefta quotes the Mishnah. Seah of Terumah shenafla lemea, v'lo yispik lagbiya shenafla acheret. So that's exactly our Mishnah. Rezu asira b'bishim matir. Okay, so if one Seah fell in and you don't have a chance to take another Seah out until another one fell in, then the machloket Chachamim Rabbi Meir. Amar Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Lazar says in the name of Rabbi Shimon. Let me move this up, okay? Bet alad aleph bemed devarim amurim. When is this true? Bizman shelo yadaba ve'achar kach nafla. If you never knew about the first Seah before the second Seah fell in. Aval im yadaba ve'achar kach nafla. But if you did know and then it fell, harezu muteret. Then it's mutar. So Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Shimon comes along and says that there's a distinction. One of the differences is, did you know? Meaning, if you knew, then it should be different than if you didn't know. And the question that the Rishonim deal with is, who is Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon coming to explain? Is he coming to explain the Chachamim who say it's Asur, and Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon is coming to qualify that Isur? Or is Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon coming to qualify Rabbi Shimon who says Mutar? So the first opinion is the Rambam. The Rambam in the Pirush HaMishnayot, brought by the Kahati, says that Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon is coming to modify the Chachamim. When is it true that Chachamim said Asur? If you didn't know beforehand, Lo Yada, if you didn't know and then the second Seah fell in, then that's 2 Seah. But if you did know, then even the Chachamim who said Asur would say Mutar. Why? Ho'il v'yada, since you know, it's as if you could have taken out the first and you didn't, but it's as if you did. And the Rabbi Shimon would say in both cases, whether you knew or didn't know, it's still mutar. On the other hand, the Bartanura and many other Mefarshim, the Ravad and others, say that no. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon is explaining his father, Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Lazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, explaining Rabbi Shimon. And therefore, Chachamim say Asur, they say Asur no matter what, whether you knew or you didn't know. So he says, B'med divrayim amurim, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, when is this true that my father says mutar? Bizman shelo yadaba, if you didn't know, ve'achar kach nafla. Okay? So when is it true that it's your asur, and even my father agrees, if you didn't know and then it fell? Lo yada. Why? Why would he say it's asur? Since you didn't know, it's as if 2 fell in. But the only time he would say mutar is when you knew yada ve'achar kach nafla. So the question, and this we'll see in the Pirush of the Bartanura. Rabbi Shimon Matir, when is Rabbi Shimon Matir? The Bartanura says, Kishelo noda lo nefila rishona. You didn't know about the first one. Ad shenafla shniya. Mode Rabbi Shimon. If lo noda, remember this case, lo yada, then mode Rabbi Shimon. Tikaman denachlu bevad achatam. It's as if 2 fell at one time. Rabbi Shimon would be a mode at asur. Lo yada. Okay. Ki palig. Where does he argue? Hecha denoda lo bein time. If you knew, v'lo yispik laharim. Rabbi Shimon Savar, in that case, Rabbi Shimon would hold, since if you could take it out as if you did, therefore it would be mutar. So therefore you see clearly, the Bartanura held that Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon was coming to modify Rabbi Shimon himself. And therefore he would say that it's only mutar in the case where yada. Nonetheless, he says, halacha ke chachamim. The difference, of course, is if the halacha is kachamim, then we would hold that it's asur whether you knew or you didn't know, as opposed to the Rambam. If he said halacha kachamim, then you would have a difference between asur and mutar, whether you knew or you didn't know. Okay, it's a little bit complicated, this brighter part. It's worthwhile, if you didn't understand, just go back and watch it again. That's the beauty of these videos. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact me at arspoter@gmail.com. And as always, dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, of Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.